Okay, let's look at the pentatonic blues scale, and we're looking at it from a beginner's point of view here. So I'll just introduce the concept of the pentatonic blues scale, and I'll also introduce one other concept, the concept of bending, and you'll find that you use that an awful lot once you get used to this pentatonic blues scale. So we're going to do this in G here for this lesson. So the thing to remember is that in this case, we will always have our first finger on the 3rd fret, and you can think of it in this case as being the position of G, because if you look at your highest and lowest strings, they're both E, and they're E, F, F sharp, G. So that's why we think of this as being in the G position. Okay, for the pentatonic blues scale here, I'll try and put something up right over here, a chart, but you can see those are the notes we'll be using: G, A sharp, C, D, F, G, A sharp, C, D, F, G, A sharp. Now, what you want to do is to practice that literally over and over and over again, so that particular shape gets very, very comfortable in your hand. Practice it upwards in the scale and downwards in the scale. Now notice that I've been using all downstrokes, but you'll also want to start practicing down and upstrokes. So that you're alternating down, up, down, up, and work on that just like crazy, because it needs to become second nature to you. There's a lot of other things you can start to do to skip notes, things of that nature, just so that pattern becomes very, very familiar to you. So right now it doesn't sound much like music, sounds like a scale. But we'll make it into music. Now, one more concept before I kind of demonstrate the sound of this scale. One more concept that I want to bring is the concept of bending. And let's take, for instance, our 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 5th fret. When we just play that like that, we've got a C, right? What we can do is to stretch that string either upwards or downwards, whichever is most comfortable. I find it most comfortable usually to stretch them up, but it depends on the string and it depends on how I'm feeling and if it's snowing outside or whatever. So let me show you this. I'm going to pluck that note, and then I'm going to stretch it so that it stretches up to the next tone. So what I've done here is to stretch it from a C up to a D. Now I could also stretch a half step. And there's nothing wrong with that, although it won't specifically, it doesn't really tend to work in this instance that we're doing. But there are some times when it works beautifully. But so what you're aiming for is that next note in that pentatonic blues scale. Now you can do that on any of the notes, but generally speaking, it's a little easier for a beginner to use the notes that fall under your 3rd finger, because they will, you've got a little more strength in your hand there. Yeah, and see, without even thinking about it, I just stretch that one down. Probably because I'm just used to doing it that way. And for instance, when I'm up on that second string, a lot of times if I know I'm going to be stretching, I'll use that third finger because I've got a little bit more power, a little bit more control than I do in my fourth finger. Let's see if I can do it with my fourth. Yeah, I can do it, but I have to think about it. So maybe I need to work on that a little bit more, stretching with my fourth finger. Okay, so we've kind of gone over the concepts and the scale and all this. So let me go ahead and play a backing track here, and then we'll hear what this sounds like in context. And I will do my darndest to stay within this scale with these concepts here. Sometimes, you know, I go off a little bit just because I've been playing for so long. I'm comfortable with a lot of different positions. I'm really going to try and stick in this position here for this example. So let's get that track started. Hear that? I did a half bend. Right there I did a double stop, 2 strings at once. Sorry, did a half step. Triplets. So you get the idea. What I would really encourage you to do, again, is to work up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down this pentatonic blues scale here, and just get it really, really, really comfortable under your left hand, and make your right hand learn too. You know, do some down picking only, do some up picking only. That's not a very natural thing to do, so it's a good thing to practice on. And then do some alternate picking, down, up, down, up. And then start skipping around a little bit, so you're doing. Just so you get comfortable with moving around within that position, going to different strings. Once you get to that point, look for something called maybe a blues guitar backing track in G. Look for something like that on the web. I would include one, but you know, I'm using somebody else's music for my example, and I don't want to continue doing that. So I would encourage you to look for a blues backing track in G minor and just play away to your heart's content. Remember, it's just you and the guitar. You're playing the best instrument in the world, so have fun and work, work, work. Thanks for watching.